It was one of those nights where the cold felt like it had a voice of its own. The wind outside howled through the cracks in the windows, rattling them softly, as though reminding me how empty the house had become. Winter in Portland always had this peculiar loneliness about it. Streets would go quiet early. Porch lights flickered in the dark. Even the sounds of passing cars became rare, replaced by the crunch of frozen leaves and the faint rustle of branches scraping against the siding. I hadn't expected him that night. In fact, I hadn't expected him to ever come back. But when I opened my door and saw his face, red from the cold, eyes swollen like he'd been holding something in for far too long, my breath caught in my throat. It had been months since I last saw Ethan, and every day since had been a silent, exhausting effort not to miss him. But the thing about memories is that they don't wait for permission. They come rushing in like a flood, whether you're ready or not. I pulled the door wider. "You shouldn't be here," I said quietly. "I know," he answered, voice trembling, not just from the cold, but something deeper. But I didn't know where else to go. We stood like that for a moment, two ghosts trying to remember what it felt like to be alive again. Then I stepped aside. The warmth from the fireplace hit him first. He shrugged out of his heavy jacket and ran a hand through his damp hair. He looked older somehow, more tired. Like life had pushed him around since we last spoke. "You want something hot?" I asked, heading toward the kitchen without waiting for an answer. He followed me slowly, hands in his pockets. "Whatever you're having." I poured 2 mugs of cocoa, the same kind we used to make when we stayed up watching old movies and talking about everything and nothing. We sat in silence at the kitchen table, the steam rising between us like a veil. It should have felt awkward, but somehow it didn't. "I messed everything up," Ethan said, finally breaking the silence. I didn't answer right away. I looked at him. His eyes were darker than I remembered, maybe from lack of sleep, or maybe from guilt. "Why are you here, Ethan?" He looked down. "Because even after everything, I keep thinking about that night. The last time." I stiffened. "The night you left?" "No," he said softly. "The night before that. When you told me you needed more, and I just pretended I didn't hear you." My throat tightened. That night had played on repeat in my head like a broken record. I'd opened myself up, tried to be vulnerable, and he'd shut down. Disappeared the next day like I never mattered. I was scared, he admitted. I didn't know how to handle being wanted like that. Like, I didn't feel like I deserved it. "And now?" I asked. "Now I know what it's like to live without it. Without you." The words hit harder than I expected. I wanted to hate him. I wanted to scream. But I couldn't deny what I'd been doing since he left. Waiting. Hoping. Wondering if he'd ever feel what I felt. "I shouldn't let you in again," I whispered. He reached across the table, covering my hand with his. "Then don't. Just let me sit here for a while. Just let me be near you." His hand was warm, his fingers slightly calloused. I stared down at them, remembering the way they used to brush my hair back, the way they used to hold me when I couldn't sleep. The hours passed. We didn't talk much. Just sat in the living room, sipping cocoa, sharing the silence like it was the only thing we had left. At some point, I dozed off on the couch. When I opened my eyes, Ethan was draping a blanket over me. Our eyes met again. Something unspoken passed between us. "You can stay," I said, voice hoarse. "Guest rooms still made up." He nodded, hesitating. "Thank you." I watched him disappear down the hallway, but sleep didn't come back. My mind replayed every conversation, every moment that led up to our collapse. I wondered if people like us ever got second chances, or if we were just fooling ourselves into thinking pain could be rewound. Sometime after midnight, I got up. I don't know why. Maybe it was the silence. Maybe it was the way my heart still ached despite everything. I walked down the hallway quietly, stopped in front of the guest room. The door was slightly ajar. He was awake, sitting on the edge of the bed, elbows on his knees, staring at the floor. I didn't say anything at first. "I couldn't sleep," he said without looking up. "Me neither." Do you ever think about it?" he asked. "Every day." He finally looked at me, and there was a sorrow in his eyes I hadn't seen before. Regret.
shame, hope.
I never stopped loving you, he said, even when I was gone. I walked into the room, slowly, like I was approaching the past itself. I sat beside him, close enough to feel the heat from his body, but not touching. My heart thudded against my chest. I wasn't sure if I was about to make a mistake or heal something broken. I don't know if I can forgive you, I said. I know, he whispered, but I can't stop remembering how it felt when things were right. Neither can I. And in that moment, the cold outside faded. The pain, the silence, the lost time, it all fell away under the weight of something deeper. Not desire, not even longing, but something softer, something raw and familiar. He moved slowly, carefully, as if afraid the moment would vanish if he reached for it too fast. And when his forehead touched mine, I closed my eyes. It wasn't a kiss. It wasn't even a promise. It was a memory brought to life. You hurt me, I said. I know, but I still want you here. I want to be here. That night, nothing dramatic happened. No declarations under the stars, no sweeping gestures. Just two people trying to find warmth in each other after a long, bitter season apart. When the morning sun peeked through the blinds, I turned over and saw Ethan asleep in the chair, blanket around him, arms crossed like he didn't want to risk taking more than I gave. And somehow, I respected that. I got up, made coffee, and waited. When he woke up and saw me across the room, he smiled. Not the cocky smile he used to wear, but something smaller, realer. I don't know what comes next, he said. Me neither. But we sat together, drinking coffee in the quiet, and for the first time in months, I didn't feel cold. Because sometimes, it's not about forgetting what hurt you. It's about letting someone prove they've changed. And that maybe, just maybe, he'd moved deep into my heart a long time ago, and I was finally ready to take him back in. Even on that cold night. Especially on that cold night.